You're listening to the Heroes Power Hour presented by BlizzPro.com. Your host, Balrog fan, Zexorus, and DJ Tyrant. Welcome everyone to the Heroes Power Hour, your Heroes of the Storm podcast, brought to you by BlizzPro.com. I'm your host, DJ Tyrant, for September, what is it, the 19th, 2017. This is episode 118 of the Heroes Power Hour, and we thank you so much for joining us. With me is the full crew tonight. We do have, starting off to my right on stream, Balrog fan, BP. How are you, my friend? How has games been for you in general?
Oh, pretty good. Enjoying Heroes when I play it and cast it very much. Kind of got back in the Hearthstone with the changes. Those have been fun. I've still seen double innervate vicious pledgeling on first turn, so that still happens. It's kind of an all-in thing, but whatever. And I got Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, so I've been playing that a bit too.
There you go.
Good week.
Good times. Zexus, how have you been? How's your week been in gaming?
My week in gaming has been pretty solid. I had a lot of fun casting the HGC North American Open Games with you last night. Played some pre-show games with Bacon from the Bank Gush squad.
There we go.
Might as well just commit to it at that point.
Carl's face is amazing, by the way.
And in a rarity, we went undefeated tonight in the
That's awesome. Game. Well, remember when we had those post-show games and we were like really happy when we went undefeated on those sets?
Yeah. I mean, and so it leads me to come into the show in a very good mood, and and other things. I had a sit down with some, I'll call them high-level MOBA personalities, to discuss the growth for Nexus commentaries, and that was pretty eye-opening, honestly. And I learned I learned a lot from that discussion, and how to handle things, and that was a lot of fun. I got Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite as well. I'm having a lot of fun with that. Definitely different, and I like it. There's no stupid X Factor.
Physical art. Did you pick up Marvel vs. Capcom? She apparently didn't pick up the mute button as well.
Nice.
Sorry.
I did not pick it up. It is not on my to-do list at the moment, with a lot of other things going on. I'm transferring jobs, I'm watching HGC all weekend, and that was enough for me, so... I've been playing a lot of Heroes, except, attempting the PTR, but after 94 minutes of attempting to play the PTR for one game...
I cannot believe that you stayed in queue for that long. That's impressive. Like, I know, but I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
Yeah, it got to 5,000 seconds in the elapsed wait time, and that was when I went to bed.
Yeah.
What? Like, at some point, it stops being about the wait and starts getting spiteful. Like, well, how long is this gonna take? Let's find out. I've got nothing to do. Let's go.
I had that thought, but it was at the 3,000 mark, so I stayed 2,000 beyond that. That was enough.
Jeez.
There's only so.
You gotta fix that, guys. I don't know how you're supposed to fix that for the PTR, but that's...
Yeah, I don't know.
That's gotta get fixed somehow.
I at least got 2 games out of it on Monday, so... But that's been my week. The next coming week is probably gonna be even heavier for me, so I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. P-Flame G, how about you? How was your week been in games?
First, I want to give a shout out to someone who probably doesn't watch the show anymore, but my brother Machota's birthday is today.
Nice.
Aw,
Happy birthday.
bro.
happy birthday.
Otherwise, I play a little bit of HOTS. Pre-show games. I wanted to play Kel'Thuzad, but Elena was on Jane every game. But I did go play Malthael and Twin Blades Varian and Tyrande, who are all pretty fun.
Mhm.
Those are good games.
Yeah, most definitely. As for myself, I've been keeping myself pretty busy gaming-wise. I played some heroes over the weekend. Mostly just quick match to just screw around and get some people to 5 that we're not level 5 already. But I've been playing a lot of the new Metroid game for 3DS as well as Destiny 2. So my gaming has been spread pretty wide, and I always have my WoW rating once a week. So pretty busy, but WoW rating's been pretty fun. I'm really enjoying this content patch, and Tomb of Sagaris is pretty fun. I'm looking forward to the next raid, and concerned that Demon Hunter DPS kind of sucks right now, or I don't know, or I'm playing it wrong. One of those two probably is the case. But yeah, Heroes has been fun. Been playing more Warriors. Played a bit of Artanas, and reminded me how much fun that he is as a hero, and definitely want to play him more. But we have a lot of stuff to get through this week, so we're going to jump right into the news. And there's actually a news release that came out, I think it was today, of a brand new balance patch that will be coming out this week. This news came out yesterday, but there will be a balance patch later on this week. So if you're listening live, a couple days from now, if you're listening to the podcast, probably I would guess the 21st will be this patch. A lot of changes to a lot of different heroes, so we're gonna go over a couple of them really quickly. But as is tradition, when they release a hero, they gotta touch it as soon as it comes out. P Flame G, what do you think of these changes to Kel'Thuzad? A lot of just mana increases across the board for his abilities.
Yeah, so basically, they nerfed his mana costs. They nerfed Shadow Fissure, which is the old everybody took. They buffed the cooldown on Frost Blast, which nobody took. They nerfed Phylactery of Kel'Thuzad, and they nerfed Glacial Spike. Which, I mean, there's other things that happened, but I think these are all pretty fair changes. I think Kel'Thuzad was busted.
You weren't the only one thinking that. I know a lot of pro players were thinking he was pretty busted.
He does a lot of damage. So removing, 140 or 160 damage off of his Glacial Spike will nerf that damage combo. So, I mean, that could be the difference between one-shotting you and not. And then the mana cost will mean he's not quite as free to spam his abilities. They're not huge mana cost increases, but he might actually have to back, or maybe can't just throw out as many free E's to try and stack his quest or not. So, I don't think any of this just removes him from the game. I think he's still a really good hero.
No, I feel like he's really good still, and these are minor changes to kind of make him less ridiculous, I guess. I don't
want to say, what was the Medivh ability? That they, yes of.
You mean S of Johann for
Johanna?
Yeah,
or
Li Ming,
Johanna Li Ming.
We're
We're all over the place.
Li Ming a Johanna W.
Yeah, that's how when I see the changes to Glacial Spike, I feel like it's those same kind of changes. They underestimated how good that was going to be.
Well,
damage.
Well, one was kind of a core part of Kel'Thuzad. The other one was just a talent that gave Li Ming way too much power and made her completely brain dead.
Right. It's not the exact same thing. I'm just saying, like, Glacial Spike was that good of a talent that it shouldn't probably do as much damage as it did. So
yeah, and they increased the delay before the spike spawns, so you don't have as easy access to just like a really quick combo to blow up somebody who's isolated. Which again is just like it makes it a little more difficult to do stuff with Glacial Spike.
Yeah, I think those are all good changes. But what's happening in support land, Charlie? Morales and Brightwing are getting some changes as well.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the Brightwing changes just because they're baselining unfurling spray basically, which you always had to take. You wanted that increased radius on her passive, so now that that's just going to be in there, it's really helpful, and it opens up her level 1. Obviously, you can go Q build. You're going to get it instead. Now Dream Shot is going to increase the range on your flare by 50%. And if you hit an enemy hero in the center portion, it reduces the cooldown to 1 second. So you're going to be able to spam it. The problem is, I don't think Brightwing has the mana to sustain that build. I will test it out, obviously, but I'm more excited about Hyper Shift getting an increased second on its cooldown, because every time you are able to reduce the cooldown on your global, it's great. And she's getting a number. Her level 7 now also applies the shield to herself when you take phase shield. So
That's
now she
a
can see in
huge-
quicker.
I feel like that's a really huge change for her.
Yeah, it's very big, because especially you can phase shift in. You'll have a shield. You can afford to pixie dust your partner for the move speed if they need to get out or if they're looking to chase down. You have a lot more flexibility when you come in. And the peekaboo radius got nerfed a bit. It was obnoxious, so that doesn't surprise me. And she lost the Arcane Barrage talent at 4, but I'm assuming with Dream Shot she won't really need it anymore. So
Well, the thing I like about Peekaboo is now it applies pixie dust to the phase shift target, and that's actually really cool. Actually, now that I think about it.
yeah, no, it's
I
a
feel like
very
I feel like that's a net gain for that.
Yeah,
Even though
yeah.
you're getting the nerf on the range of the vision, you're getting the pixie dust on top of that.
Yeah,
So
and
it's a buff if you're shifting in the middle of a fight. It's a nerf if you're phase shifting 5 seconds before the fight starts. You can get the vision.
Okay.
Yeah, Peekaboo's generally taken strategically by the pros for that reason, the latter reason Carl was stating. So I think it'll feel more like a nerf to them. But yeah, the pixie dust thing's pretty cool. I mean, it's a little move speed, a little spell damp, or a little spell block. It helps. But yeah, and go ahead.
Sorry, just real quick. It helps in like little skirmishes, right? So in a team fight, it's a nerf. But if you're just like, oh, they're on the top shrine in Dragonshire, and I'm helping to turn this, 2v1 into a 2v2, the big stick shield means a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's just the range, like you said, it's very nice when you're worried about basically creating your own, mobile vision shrine, and you want to extend that range as far out as possible. That's usually why you take that talent. So. But yeah, at least they didn't fully nerf it.
Well, we have 2 for you. I know Morales
yeah.
got changes as well. Base health and life regen increase for as far as the baseline stuff. And what else is changing on her kit with this upcoming patch?
Basically, her energy regeneration cooldown on her Q has reduced from 3 to 2 seconds, so she's going to be able to start restoring her energy out of fight a lot quicker. I think it's going to make a very big difference. I think she's on the verge of being very playable, but something like this is going to really help her step over the edge. It's really the only change of any real consequence. Caduceus feedback now increases basic attack range by 1.1 and only generates energy from basic attacks against heroic targets. So
Since the change to the energy bar, have you seen just better general play, like over time now?
It feels like she has a hard time sticking around for sustained fights still, because that energy regeneration cooldown takes so long. I've seen her used to some effect with certain comps that need her for stim drone and whatnot. She's not terrible or anything, but it felt like she was a burst healer and that's it. And that's kind of weird because she used to be able to stick around and sustain in fights for so long. So it's just been an adjustment, and I think maybe this energy regeneration cooldown will make a big difference in her play.
Most definitely. Moving on though. A little disclaimer: if you're listening to the recorded version, you can probably skip ahead 20 minutes if you don't want to hear about Chen changes. But Zexorus, how about those Chen changes?
Wow.
Anybody get the number of that bus?
Yeah, no kidding. Jimmy with that savagery all of a sudden.
I love you, Zex.
Good Lord.
Somebody had a good day.
I don't know if you do, actually. So they got rid of Grounding Brew. They combined it with Purifying Brew, which got moved to 7, and this means absolutely nothing. You're still going to take brew balance unless it's an incredibly niche situation, so niche that like it's going to happen it's going to happen maybe 10 out of 90 games. It's not, it doesn't mean anything. Like, this is essentially relentless. And they put it on the same tier as brew balance. And so nobody's going to take it. It's not going to get any real big use. If they put it at 13 where relentless was, that's actually a good tier to put it on. The power of that, so especially since they've reduced the cooldown of what Purifying Brew does down to 15 seconds, like that would be very, very competitive with the 13 tier. But they're not going to, because they don't know what they're doing with Chen. Like all of his talents are out of date. And even the developer was like, yeah, we kind of need to go back and touch up some of those older quests, because now there's like 2-part quests and Chen has access to none of them. I just threw my beard comb across the table.
Well, I love the developer comment. Lowering the cooldown drastically and granting the functionality of Grounding Brew should incentivize players into choosing it when playing against certain team compositions. Sex is like, nope.
I'm still taking brew balance because it lets me chase down the mages in the situations where I would even remotely consider Purifying Brew, which makes it a more valuable talent in the long run. I hit that 50 sweet spot. I get the regen and the move speed, and I can just run mages down all day, and they can't do anything about it. Like, if Purifying Brew were at 13, I would take it probably 100% of the time.
I think we can all agree that Chen's pretty long overdue for a rework at this point. Especially, I mean, Johanna's getting one, basically, soon. Like, Chen's been out a lot longer and needed one way before she did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has. But we're not going to get it because, again, they don't know how to balance Chen. He's in that weird spot where if you make his trait too powerful, like, he's just going to straight up break the game.
And
Didn't
just
Chen
overhaul
get
him.
a rework and you hated it?
The talents I liked about Chen in the rework were the ones that never got picked.
Ah.
Like, because Elusive Brawler is great for diving, like, under towers and stuff like that, because the tower shots just miss you at that point, and you run back, you auto a creep wave, and your Elusive Brawler's back up, Nobody takes freshest ingredients. Very rarely did people take Grounding Brew. Cat, what is your malfunction?
He's tired of you talking about Chen.
I swear to God, Jimmy. But, like, yeah, it goes back to the point about those quest talents needing a second, reward to match what everyone else has been getting. Like, I was even tossing out, like, really weird ideas for, like, freshest ingredients where, like, you get 30 globes and after you collect 30 globes, you get mobile brew, but you generate brew and shields, like, 50% slower. But you're walking around while drinking, which is also incredibly valuable, But, like, the developer didn't actually. I think he's being polite, but he is like, I don't think he said that was a terrible idea. I think he said it was an intriguing idea. But anyways, that's Chen. Can we move on? This hurts my soul.
Yeah, we can definitely move on. There were some other warriors that were touched as well. We want to talk quickly about Garrosh getting a little bit of work on him. Both Willie and I have played a decent amount, and we're seeing the mana cost get increased in a couple of his baseline abilities, Groundbreaker and Wrecking Ball getting a mana cost bump, but Decimate getting a mana cost reduction. That's not going to change the heroics that are picked for Garrosh at all, I don't think. I do like this level 1 change. The body check is getting its cooldown reduced from 20 to 16. I do like taking that at level 1. I know there are other talents that people do like to take. I do like taking body check. Into the Fray at 7. Cooldown is increasing from 30 to 40. So relatively small changes. I don't think he's hurt him too much. Just some really minor adjustments. Zex, I'm curious what you think, having watched a lot of Garrosh play as well as playing quite a bit.
The mana changes were definitely needed. Like Garrosh, this kind of puts him in line to have to back for mana every once in a while, just because of how often, especially if you go Warbreaker at 1 and you get that reduced cooldown on your Q. The amount of abilities he can spam before he can even remotely think about backing is just too much, and this kind of puts him in line to be more in line with everybody else in terms of mana usage. I don't know if I really agree with Decimate, the reduction. I think it's kind of negligent, or not negligent, but irrelevant.
Negligible.
Negligible.
Yeah, that's what we were looking for.
Yeah, thank you. Because nobody really takes that talent, and the 3 stacks you get to use, like, you burn 75 mana. Okay. Like,
I think it's just because it's a
75
higher
versus
mana
3.
usage talent than Taunt. So if you nerf the mana on the other talents, then it's possible that picking Decimate would now just completely run you out of mana.
Yeah.
They wanted to avoid that.
Yeah, I suppose, but I really don't think the buff to the mana cost was that necessary. Body check, I really want to like body check. I just can't bring myself to take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't blame you for that. I mean,
like,
what was the other one we've been seeing a lot picked in competitive Warbreaker?
Warbreaker. That's the one. That's the talent I brought up.
Yeah, and that buffs it buffs his Q, the Groundbreaker skill.
Yep. Redo after you just pull 15 heroes. That actually needs to go up because it is way too easy to finish that quest. 15 heroes, you get 3 seconds off your Groundbreaker, and it's already at an 8-second cooldown. So every 5 seconds, you can pull somebody back to you. That's about as obnoxious as let's see, what was it? That was about as obnoxious as Warbringer was when it was a mini stun.
Yeah.
Yes. So their developer comment was like, we had low mana cost for Garrosh because it's a pretty low impact warrior when his cooldowns aren't available. It's like, all right, they gave him a 5-second cooldown on his thing. So
yeah, I mean the 5 seconds. I mean, he's still not going to have that big of mana problems.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I mean, it was the nerfs were definitely needed. Like, he's too effective right now. Like, I almost feel like Groundbreaker should cost a lot more for how useful it is. Like, not 35. I'm talking like 50, 60 mana. Because the ability to, like, especially what Carl said, you finish the Warbreaker quest, and that's a 5-second cooldown. You need to be punished for just throwing that out all crazy. What,
Yeah,
I was going to say, willy-nilly?
A lot of Brightwing's abilities are very high mana cost. not Brightwing. I'm sorry, Nazebo.
Mhm.
A lot of her abilities or his abilities are very high mana cost. I'm tongue-tied tonight.
It happens.
So,
No, Willie,
Um,
I'm actually just picturing the future of Garrosh with Innervate and Nano Boost. That's actually what I was picturing right there.
Stop it. That's not nice. We don't talk like that around here.
But,
That's
that's where my brain
that's
went.
disgusting. No, it's like that fisherman commercial, that car insurance with the you almost got it. You know, you keep
Yeah.
pulling them back in. Oh, you almost got away.
Yeah.
Like, no.
But moving on a little bit, just because we have so much to cover tonight, some of the other heroes getting touched, Thrall getting base max health and health regen to align with that health increase. Developer comment for the Horde. Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed that touch there.
I did too. This is one of those changes that on paper doesn't seem particularly great, but it's one of those that could really help him in the long run. Depending on how the meta shifts, we'll see.
Health changes are always impactful.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
it's a significant health change. Too.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
almost 100 more health for base. It's actually 90. No. Never mind. Don't listen to my math. It's almost 100.
Okay. I won't. But we gotta touch on Chromie.
Okay.
Because my
Oh.
biggest fear just happened.
Before that though, I want to talk a little bit about Cassia. Basic attack damage gain increased, and the passive damage bonus to blinded targets from blinding light is increased by 5%. And also a couple talents are at level 1 getting changed. Thunderstroke, the first quest reward damage bonus, is increased from 75 to 100. So this is her damage could ramp up pretty quickly here. True Sight is removed, and Seraph's Hymn has been moved to level 13, but the cooldown reduction per basic attack against blinded heroes reduced from 3 to 2 seconds.
Good
So-
lord.
Yeah, this is a pretty big nerf for her moving Seraph's Hymn that far down the talent tree.
Mhm.
You know, I don't see a lot of her in HGC or in ranked games in general. Like I don't know. I don't think with the current meta she's that strong to begin with.
Charlie, do you mean nerf?
Well, yeah, because they're moving it to level 13.
They're
No.
moving it from 13 to 1.
Oh, I'm sorry. Move from 13. My mistake.
Other way.
Yeah.
Along
Again,
with buffing
reverse.
her damage numbers. So,
Yes. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's a significant buff then. I thought it was at level 1 and moving to 13.
Maybe it'll help her then. I never see her in gameplay.
I feel like
She's a
she's
pretty
really
good hero.
underrated.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't enjoy playing her. And I don't know. I mean, clearly I'm not the average pro, but I don't know if like there's some heroes that pros just like really like to play and they'll play them. There's some pros that are like I don't enjoy this kind of gameplay, or it's kind of too weird to get a hang of, and they don't dump the time into learning it. But I think she's a really good hero.
Yeah, she's I've seen her used to, good effect before. I think Digi likes her quite a bit. He put in some work with her before.
Do you think she's more of a niche map play than just
No, I think she's just one of those heroes you like, kind of like Carl alluded to. You either latch on and just play the crap out of her, or you don't touch her at all. And most people don't touch her.
True.
Because I mean, like I said, she's got a lot of strong abilities. She's capable of blowing people up. She's good at blinding people. She's an anti-dive, engage warrior or assassin who has a pretty tanky health pool for what she's able to do. So I don't really think there's anything wrong with her kit. And with the Seraph's Hymn moving down to level 1, that's going to make her a lot better.
That'll be fun to see then.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Jimmy?
So Chromie?
You guys wanted to talk about Chromie being awful?
Mm.
Surprise.
No. So remember me talking about the other week about how I hope they don't reduce the Sandblast quest?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, they reduced it by 20. So now even the average bronze
Joe.
player will be able to eventually complete that quest.
They said only about
Who are
40%.
you pointing at? Who are you?
Who is a
pointing-
bronze dragon?
I see. I wasn't even going for the pun.
Wow.
I wasn't even trying for it.
You missed the pun.
That pat myself on the back. Wasn't even trying. So, but 60 is like so easily attainable. Like she's now broken. She's now just way too strong at this point. Like they're gonna come back after Ana drops and be like, "We made a mistake. It was a really
Yeah.
big mistake."
I don't know about you, but I'm excited to see Prismat play that.
my
That's
gosh.
fine. Like,
He's
But-
like 9-0 on
Jeez.
Chrome now.
yeah, this is just absolutely like, no. Why did you do that, Blizzard? Like, I don't. Only 40% of Chromie players were unlocking the Echo over the course of the game. Well, maybe they should hit their skill shots. That was the point of adding that quest, guys.
Oh my
They-
goodness.
And among players that it did, it was incurring later than we'd like because you put a Storm Talent baseline. What did you want them to get at level 5?
Good. Let the rage fill you.
I think 80 to 60 was definitely an over adjustment. Maybe
Well,
to 80
yeah.
to 75.
I think
would've been
it's a test
fine.
mark.
It-
They're
what's-
dropping the dollar to see who can grab it.
What's
and-
interesting though is they usually do those in minor like increments. Like we're seeing this some of these other changes we already talked about today. These garage changes are so minor that they almost feel like nothing.
Right.
And this is just like in the other direction.
yeah.
Yeah, this is like, okay, you think of every pro player you've seen play Chromie to this point, and now imagine them being 25% better. You know, like, because that's how, what, Carl, am I right on my math? Is 20 out of 80 is 25%, right?
You're
I'm
correct.
not stupid. Okay, good. I'm not stupid today. But imagine them just being their damage coming online much more forcefully in a hurry, 25% faster.
If she's not banned.
Now, granted, it's not an adjustment to the amount of damage you get. You're just getting the echo early, but still, you're getting a 40% sandblast.
You're power spiking sooner.
Yeah,
That's a straight buff.
Yeah, you're power spiking way sooner than you should. Like, that's just not natural. That's abhorrent.
To be fair, Chromie is all about power spiking sooner than she should.
That I get that, but that's her trait. That's
Yeah.
not her cue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna
And
cut
then
that off.
they-
I'm gonna cut it off
Yeah.
there. Because
That's
we
fine.
have way more stuff to move on. There's other changes to other heroes: Butcher, Tehran, Sukov, Liork. Go check those out. There's some really cool changes there. If you play any of those heroes, you definitely want to be appraised to what's happening with them. But the big news of the week was the release of the Volskaya Foundry event for Heroes of the Storm. I was lucky enough last week to be invited to Blizzard on a virtual press tour, so I got to watch this from home, where we talked with a couple of the developers. They showed us some screenshots and some clips from the new Battleground Volskaya Foundry, as well as the next two heroes coming up in Heroes of the Storm and Ana, ranged support from Overwatch, as well as Junkrat, the ranged assassin from Overwatch. We do know about Ana's kit. It's all out there now. Junkrat, we actually do know nothing about. They didn't tell me anything other than that he's coming to Heroes of the Storm. And it was really fun to talk to the devs about everything with developing this new Battleground and event, and especially with bringing a hero like Ana into the game. And I know we're going to talk a lot about her. But as a support player at heart, Balrog fan, what do you think of Ana being literally a pure skill shot based support?
I think she's going to be a lot of fun. I didn't get a chance to play her, but from everything Artifice has said, she sounds fun. I mean, yeah, it seems like a really cool, strong kit. It's gonna be fun. I think you should ask them. They played her.
Okay. Yeah, physical art. I know you've actually endured the queues like you were talking about in your games this week. What do you think of her so far? I haven't had a chance to play her, and just the descriptions of her made her seem completely, really, really high skill cap.
You know, she's a lot of fun because the fun fact is the only thing that's not a skill shot for her is nano boost. That's one of the things that people are laughing about the most and having the most fun with. But she's the kind of thing that she's the healer that you can't chase down unless you have a lot of muscle behind you, because between her short cooldowns on her darts and her sleep darts and the grenade, she has a lot of self-preservation and a lot of escape with that. Plus it's very easy for her because I've noticed that I can shoot darts through walls. I can lob the grenades over walls. And my favorite thing about her, which I think should transfer to a lot of other heroes, is you can't miss a hero because of minions in your way. Everything she does focuses on heroes entirely. You can't even heal the minions by accident, and that's my favorite thing about her.
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate the precision of that.
Yeah, like I said to Willie earlier, imagine Dahaka's drag if you never accidentally got a minion by mistake. Like, it's that nice of a thing.
There's some mastery in that, but I think it's fairly intuitive, or at least it becomes more intuitive, and you're used to. I need to avoid their minions, right? I can't hit my hook through their minion. I can't hit my whatever through their minion, but my minions are fine. My minions never care.
Yeah.
And on a heal, that's what would actually block you, and so that would be very just unfamiliar.
Yeah, for her skill shot, the sleep dart, I can aim through all of their minions to hit somebody no matter what. And I can do it through walls as well, and it won't hit towers and things like that. So it's really nice. I did not get a chance to play Eye of Horus. I did get a chance to play Nano Boost, which is as ridiculous as you're expecting it to be. Check Reddit, check YouTube and Twitch. There's clips of it everywhere. It's hilarious. Eye of Horus seems like what Nova's ult should have been to me.
What triple tap?
Yeah, the Eye of Horus unlimited range damaging rounds. I mean, it's healing and damaging rounds, but you could basically snipe from anywhere in the map to anywhere in the map.
Yeah, when I was making that preview video for Ana, I messed around with Eye of Horus, and the thing I like and I oddly don't like about it is that if you're trying to snipe a kill off, your teammates get in the way. It's not happening because the indicator on it is actually really nice, because if it's red, you've got an enemy lined up. If it's green, you've got an ally lined up, and you can really spam those shots.
Yeah,
and it's meaningful damage as well. So
I think with communication, you can have your team spread out and make sure that you secure a kill if they're, a mobile hero that only is going to get killed by the snipe.
Yeah, there actually is a slight bug with that on the PTR where only a few shots are getting triggered before it shuts down. So I think they're working on fixing that or adjusting it.
Yeah.
But
what I find fascinating is the biotic grenade. I actually asked quite a few questions about this skill going into the game. Basically, if you hit it with enemies, it damages them, and they receive 100% less healing for 2 seconds. If I remember how they answered this question correctly, they basically said there will be an indicator for Ana of how much healing she prevented, and it works on anything that has healing. And so the most hilarious one they said they saw was someone's ancestral getting stuffed by an arc grenade, because it stops the healing and it triggers the cooldown on that ability, so you're like completely destroyed by it. I mean, this is a very scary ability to play against, and I'm really excited to see how it plays out. And I think one of the other interesting things was Sleep Dart. It's not triggered by Ana's trait. Ana's trait does a damage over time, but this obviously doesn't trigger that. So other abilities, other damaging abilities will wake them up, just like in Overwatch. But really interesting. I think the other really big thing that I liked, and they mentioned this in the overview video, was she has 2 talents at level 13 that are Cleanse-esque. Purifying Dart removes the slow roots and heals more if they are stunned. So that's your Sleep Dart. Or no,
Healing Dart.
Healing Dart.
And Healing Dart.
Sorry.
Both of those. Yeah, it's an
then,
interesting choice at 13. I think that's kind of a how is our game going right now type of decision. Because the roots and the slows or the stuns is basically what your options are. If you're snowballing the move speed.
The other one, Smelling Salts at 13, removing stuns and adding 50 armor if they are stunned. What do you think about that, Powerhour fan? I know you're a big Uther guy, and that's kind of replicating a bit of what he brings to the table.
Yeah, I really like the versatility of both of those, because generally when you're trying to remove stuns, people are trying to blow somebody up, and it's great to add that armor. It's one of the main reasons I like healing on Uther. The idea of moving the stuns and the slows and getting the extra healing, that's nice, because a lot of times when people are being rooted, they're being bursted down through sustained damage. I think they're very good, clear, distinct choices you need to make about how you're going to fight the other team, and they come at the right time. I really like that in her kit.
I do like some of the synergy between a lot of her talents. So I talked about it in the video I posted in the chat. But detachable magazine box, which empowers your doses. Quest stack 5 doses on an enemy hero. Once you do that 15 times, you unlock the active reload ability, which you can activate instantly to get 3 charges of Healing Dart. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then if you take Overdose, if you hit people with Sleep Dart and Biotic Grenade, it applies 2 instances of her trait. So Sleep Dart, somebody, you drop you drop a grenade, you hit them with the Sleep Dart, you attack them once, boom, there's 1 part of your quest down. Like, that's 5 stacks right there. And then we go ahead to 13. You either take Purifying if it's root heavy, if it's stun heavy, you take Smelling Salts, and you can just keep everybody so incredibly safe in a hectic team fight. And then here's where it really, really gets weird for Ana. So 16, concentrated doses or sharpshooter. But I like concentrated doses a lot more because it increases the Healing Dart's effectiveness by 10% for each active dose on enemy heroes. So if you go absolutely ham on people and you get 5 stacks across all 5, that Healing Dart is healing for 250% more.
That's also a very good escape tactic when somebody is low. It's kind of a don't touch my things. Because the dose is active, you just keep them healing more and more and more so they can escape.
Wonderbread asks, but is level 16 too late? No, because I don't think so. I think that's the perfect time to put that talent in, because that's kind of the finishing blow to anyone who tries to take you down at that point. You have so much healing now potentially on your side that, I mean, even just getting 5 stacks on one person is just absolutely insane. That's 50 extra percent on that healing on an as long as those stacks are active. And it takes what 5 seconds for those stacks to fall off.
And then if you choose to go that route at 20, the somnolent doses, where if you stack 5, they're put to sleep.
That's so gross. That is so gross.
Sleep dart.
Yeah, that's so dumb. It's beautiful. And
it's so ridiculous.
I really want to like aim down sights. Like, because at 20 she gets a attack range bonus from 2 to 4. Aim down sights being an activatable trait that increases her vision by 100% and her attack range by 2, but slows her down by 20% until it's canceled. And at 20, it goes from 2 to 4. That's...
She's got a lot of fun things.
Yeah, she does. She's got, like, she's... Like, I even kind of exclaimed at one point, I'm like, is this really a support? Like, because she's got dynamic shooting at 20 as well, which increases her attack speed by 10% for 4 seconds up to 100%.
Yeah, for sure. I think we'll be obviously talking more about Ana in the coming weeks, but there's just so much we have to talk about with this event coming up. Pachimari Mania, another event coming to the game. I don't know how you guys feel about these events, but I'm kind of on them.
It's free gold.
It is free gold.
Does gold even matter anymore?
Yeah.
I still buy my heroes.
I don't think you get gold from this. I think you only get the Paramachi emojis, banner, spray, and portrait for completing the quest.
It's a fun event for a lot of people because it's just something
to do. Yeah, something to do the 30 seconds before.
I don't know what a Pachikachu is. What is that?
It's this little stuffed figure thing from Overwatch. It's in a bunch of the arcade claw machines.
It was
we'll show
on the
it
gear
too.
Shop.
Yeah,
but it's currently sold out.
What? It is? Well, it's at a store that I was recently at, so I might have to go get it. Anyways, the big thing though, I think, is a brand new Battleground Volskaya Foundry with 3 control points throughout. Controlling one of these, just like the Overwatch map type would imply. You actually get a mech out of it, Triglov Protector, and the fun part about this brand new thing in the game, in this battleground, is it's a 2-person mech. The first person that gets into the mech has the control over movement, has some basic abilities to use with it, and the second one that comes in is able to do a lot of the damage abilities from the mech. And just very early on in the Q&A that Blizzard had about this, we did ask about Vikings, and no, Vikings will not be able to control both of them, so you don't have to worry about that.
Hey guys, guess what?
What?
If Cho'Gall gets into the mech, Gall can still cast spells.
Well, that's how it is.
Can he really?
Well, that's how it is for some of the other vehicles, right? Dragonite, yeah.
Yeah, that's true, but it's a two-person mech.
So you have this giant 3-man entity.
So
yeah.
Willie, you're gonna have to test out if Nano Boost works on Gull while he's in the Protector.
Oh my gosh.
I want to do that now. That's
yeah.
fun.
I think also interesting though, in addition to this, they did state that all vehicles now, including the DK, Garden Terror, and the Protector, are now unstoppable. So yeah, this is also a change coming in this patch.
So you can't stun the DK. You can't stun the Garden Terror.
Yeah.
That's
Terror
stupid.
is...
That's gonna.
They already resisted CC, so it was only like half effective against them.
With
but
that though, because there's so much for the average player. There's so much pressure with those of I can't go this way. They're chasing me down. I can't go this way. I've wasted the whole thing. Because there's so much pullback and as much CC as they could draw out of it. I don't know. For those maps, I kind of with it.
That's just going to encourage bad players to do even dumber things. I'm unstoppable.
The goal is to make the Garden Terror so good that Garden of Terror only takes 22 minutes to complete.
As opposed to 40.
Oh my gosh.
I'm for these changes.
The other interesting thing I didn't mention was around the control points there's a bunch of conveyor belts, which makes things interesting. I've already seen some videos on Reddit of Abathur mines absolutely destroying people.
Or you saw the Abathur chase too.
Yeah, that was
that
pretty
was
good.
clowny.
It was super clowny.
Like not into the mine, just Abathur like juking him in out of vision, or as the ramp went around.
Yeah, like straight into the corner. The Jaina one was really good too. The Jaina with the clown music. Just running around the conveyor belts.
But I mean, did any of you play it yet? This is basically Zex or physical art.
I didn't play the full map. I played the brawl, which I'm not sure because it was up on Monday and then it disappeared. It was an ARAM with the double protectors that would pop up, and it was kind of a strange map because it was vertical as opposed to horizontal, but it was a lot of fun for the two that I got into.
Well, the brawl, they said they designed it to just so people get used to using these new unit types. And I think that's a pretty nice way to actually introduce it to players going forward.
I also think that would be good because a lot of people, they'll queue up and they won't see the new map for several matches, and they won't know what to do once they get there. So having the brawl the first few days would be very nice.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that we have to look forward to as well. So that's exciting. For those who haven't played Overwatch, the control points work very similarly to how they do that in Overwatch. When a point's at 99% victory progress, you can enter an overtime state, and that means the enemy team can go and contest for a little short period of time, and that'll be interesting. Kind of trying to bring the Overwatch flavor into Heroes once again. Really quickly before we move on to some of the other stuff in this patch, what do you guys think about this versus Hanamura? Obviously Hanamura has been taken out of the rotation.
This is infinitely better than Hanamura. Hanamura is a trash map. But as far as like pro viability, I think this will be a picked map. Like the two-headed thing is like nifty, but it doesn't it's not like so gimmicky that the pro is gonna like, oh, this is a cheese map that you pick if you think you're a bad team and you're trying to get an upset win. It's like a Dragon Knight. They've played Dragon before. They've played Garden, and they've had, we need to contest a point right here. And it's not like, it's not like Warhead where you have 3 things spawning all the way across the map that you can only get to with globals. It seems like it's going to be a pretty straightforward map where it's like, all right, you got 3 lanes. And sometimes you're going to have to go to an objective and you're going to team fight and you're going to sit on a point and they're going to march down the lane with a player-controlled boss. So yeah. I think it's going to see a lot of play. I think it's a really fun map. I think it's like I think they nailed this one.
It looks
as much
really
as I hate
good.
Overwatch, and I'm mad that we're getting 2 Overwatch heroes, this map looks fantastic. Like it's fun, it brings new mechanics, but doesn't bring them in a way that feels cheesy and gimmicky.
Yeah, it's not too far away from the norm of MOBA play as Hanamura was. But moving on to some of the other stuff real quickly. I know we talked about this in our group chat, and it's not in the show notes, but I wanted to mention that it is coming in this next patch, is the AI hero improvements. Make sure to check out that blog that Blizzard did put out for this, because it's actually really interesting and fascinating. The amount of work going into the decision-making engine for the AI controlled heroes, and it should be interesting going forward. Alina, how excited are you for the new daily quest of play 2 games as an Overwatch hero?
I'm so happy it finally happened. I'm in the vast minority. Give me that quest. Give me Ana. Give me Junkrat. I'm so excited. You have no idea. I think it's time. Like there's enough for a full team. There's enough of each class that it just, and you know what? It's only 2. It's 2 games as opposed to the 3 that are every other game. So, but there are people who won't play it, and it'll sit in their inventory just as long as my 3 games as a tank sits in mine. It'll sit there for a week before I finally do it.
I play primarily draft mode, so the quest doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so it's a fun thing.
Where's my play 2 games as Blizzard Classic heroes?
I
play 2 games as multiplayer.
You'll get that when we get Rock and Roll Racing
in Blackthorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other one. But you know, I as much excitement as I have for the Overwatch stuff, I don't think they haven't reached the goal. I want to see Alterac Valley as a map. I think that would make a superb map.
I really would like to see something like that as well.
It's already set up.
Yeah, but then the team with most alliance characters on its side would always win. Be easy to draft for.
Also true. This is also fact.
And here's some changes coming to loot chests in the system that I think people need to be aware of that go through and do a purchase loot chest. Loot chests now purchased via the loot tab will now only grant rare loot chests instead of normal loot chests, which is very nice. I didn't realize that it was only giving you normal loot chests to begin with, and so shame on you, Blizzard, but thank you for fixing that.
I definitely agree with that, especially if it's coming, out of the new system.
Yeah, and this will be only after the patch. It won't apply to any loot chests you buy pre-patch, so hold on to your gems. And speaking of gems, maybe you don't want to hold on to them because the Celestial Steed mount will be going away and replaced by the Celestial Raptor mount as a reward for making a purchase gems. So if you want that Celestial Steed mount, get those gems before this patch comes out.
I don't want to pressure you or anything, but that Celestial Steed mount's fantastic.
The dinosaurs, Celestial Dinosaur.
They're not exclusive. Get the steed and then get the raptor.
There you go.
I do want to touch on the most important change, though.
Okay.
Banners that are placed after completing an objective, capturing mercenaries, will now display the name of the player who owns that banner. That's great.
Wow. That is pretty great.
I can see my name on the battlefield. I'm legit excited.
Yeah.
You know what? Now I'm going to go out of my way to capture every single point.
I now hate this change.
My favorite change is, this is really silly, but in your collection, it now should be easier to differentiate between your owned and unowned items in your collection. Honestly, it's hard as heck for me to see that. And now the item prices will be displayed on all unowned items, which will probably give a bunch of OCD people all sorts of problems because they'll be like, I don't own that. I need to get it. I don't need it.
Whenever I go into the collection, I just move to all unowned.
There you go.
Whatever tab I'm browsing. I don't know
is that what you did for chat icons? Emojis?
What for the emojis? Yeah, that's what I do now. Because it's just quicker to see everything all the emojis I don't own as compared to the emojis I do own.
Speaking of unknown, there is also now an invisible poverty pony, just in case.
I really want that.
That's such a weird mount. I'm sorry. That's weird.
I'm so excited for that. I remember I lost my mind over the Celestial Steed. I remember I bought it and I immediately just messaged our Facebook chat. This is the best mount ever! Oh my god, you guys have got to get this mount now!
Yep. Exactly.
And then you guys, Charlie saw it. He's like, holy crap, you're right. That is an amazing mount. I want it.
Yeah, I bought it right away.
Yep.
There's a lot of good stuff coming up.
Yeah, most definitely.
Speaking of good stuff,
yeah,
I'm going to throw in that 5-minute, 12-second match from this weekend.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we are talking about HGC. That was Roll20 versus Gale Force, correct? On Warhead Junction. Why that battleground? How like
The whole thing, and I know some of you didn't get to watch it because of work. For me, watching that whole series was like watching a different team. Like Gilly said, weeks of preparation for that, and it absolutely showed in the drafting, in the careful play style up until like minute 4 of that game. But everything
Careful
was,
up till minute 4.
yes, careful up till minute 4, because if you watch it, like the whole thing, like the double triple global on Gale Force all in one lane, meanwhile the other team is spread out. Like everything was coordinated and planned. It was amazing to watch, because it was the kind of thing that people have been looking for as far as the whole like joke of NA. Like that's something they were looking for, is things like that. But the whole weekend was really good matches.
Yeah, the weekend actually ended up solidifying us all the guaranteed spots from both North America and EU. We do have both Roll20 Esports and Team Freedom guaranteed spots to BlizzCon right now. Their seating can potentially change. We'll be talking about those possibilities in a little bit, but we knew Fnatic had already punched their ticket, but Dignitas, they also punched their ticket as well, so Dig fans can rest easy. They're looking good.
Fnatic can start sweating because Dignitas is the only team that can actually threaten them.
Exactly. And on the flip side of things, we actually do know quite a bit about how the Crucible is going to look. EU, we only have one team locked into the Crucible right now. That is Team Good Guys at 2-11. But this bottom part of the bracket is so open right now. It's kind of crazy, because we have Playing Ducks and Zealots both at 5-8, then Team Liquid and Tricked at 6-7, and then Team Expert obviously not in any threat of falling to the Crucible, but they're at 7-6. So those teams will be fighting for those advantageous seeds for the HCGC playoffs, and then keep going.
I just want to say Zealots basically controls their destiny here for the Crucible, because Ducks drew the short straw, and they have to play Fnatic in Week 10. They're not going to beat Fnatic in Week 10 unless Fnatic just decides to hand out
didn't
charity.
Fnatic lose last Week 10 to a bad team?
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to do that again, because people don't want to accuse them. They don't want to be accused of throwing, and they're on such a hot streak right now. You wouldn't break that up. But
they lost to Playing Ducks.
Did they really?
Funny.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The only team to beat Fnatic was Playing Ducks. Let that roll around in your head for a minute.
Wow. So, anyways, but Zealots faces good guys, so they have to play a good game, beat good guys, and it's likely they'll get themselves out of the Crucible, and it'll be Ducks and good guys down there.
Yeah, most definitely. But there's no question in North America of who we will be seeing in the Crucible, most likely up against Heroes Hearth. If you haven't checked out the HGC NA Open, you gotta check out Heroes Hearth. Crowan, McIntyre, I can't remember who all is on that, but it's a whole bunch of ex-HGC pros. They're a very, very scary team.
I refuse to call them an amateur team, because nobody on that team is an amateur. On any level, all of them have been on HGC teams at some point.
Yep, but
they're not an amateur team.
Do you think they beat Legef?
It's like putting I
don't know. That's a good question.
Don't use this equivalency, but it's like taking a mid-tier NBA team and throwing them in the NCAA tournament.
You could throw the worst team in the NBA into the NCAA tournament.
No, because even the worst college team. Hold on. No,
these arguments are dumb. This is a sports
They are
radio
dumb.
argument.
Any college team could beat the Philadelphia 76ers.
Don't agree.
Anyways,
Anyways, we're talking about HGC right now. But yeah, Lag Force, even in death. I'm pretty sure we predicted them being in the Crucible before the start of the season. It came true. So yeah, I feel like even in death is definitely in the worst position for or most likely to lose their spot in HGC Pro. Lag Force depends if they show up to play that day. They've
Spoiler, they won't.
So here's the thing. I guess I asked this question, but it probably won't happen because Lag Force is going to go in higher seed than even in Death. And Lag Force gets to choose who they play for their spot, right?
Yes.
Which means they won't choose the fake
Heroes
amateur
Earth,
team.
yeah.
The fake him, the faux amateurs.
So, does Even in Death lose to that team?
Does Even in Death lose to Heroes Earth?
Yes.
I think so.
Wait, that's a serious question.
I think so.
You
It
know,
is a serious question. You have to realize that Even in Death has been scrimming against HGC Pro teams. And yes, they have a crummy record, but I feel like they have improved from where they were in the HGC Open.
I think they'll at least put up a good dogfight. I really do. They have lost a lot of matches, but they don't just roll over and die. You know, like they're definitely
Even in
learning.
Okay.
They're definitely improving. They're definitely putting up a good fight.
Yeah,
And there was that one game, Willie. That one game.
That loss looks sillier and sillier. Like, that's the eternal.
I'm
stain
sorry, but
in
I'm gonna lord that over you because you were like, "Oh, Even in Death isn't gonna win a series," and I was like, "They'll win a series. I
They
promise
didn't win
you."
a series. They won a map. Oh wait, no, okay, never mind.
They have one. They
won
did
a
win a
series.
series.
They won,
Yeah.
and they beat Space
They
Station
also
Gaming.
are the only team to take a map off of Roll20 in Phase 2.
And
That's amazing.
Like
That's
like
awesome.
NA taking a map off of EU.
Or
If I'm perfectly honest.
22 and owing Korea.
Yeah.
Well-
I-
apparently, who was it? Schwimpy on Twitter said, "Hey, Lag Force might be good," which is definitely a step up from the constant disrespect EU just shows.
shows
NA.
NA all the time. Yeah.
So here's the question. Did he tweet that in response to Lag Force almost beating GFE? Because right now GFE looks like a terrible team.
Yeah, no, GFE looks god awful.
I can't believe how bad they look.
I don't know what
Well,
happened,
They
but
just
they look bad.
like
I think their thing was reliance on being at the top and just assuming they know certain things about the other
Right.
teams.
Wait. It's the Cloud9 connection with King Calf and K1. Anytime the meta shifts, they have a slow adjustment period to that meta shifting.
I'm really agreeing with Artifice here. I think they got used to being able to one-up tempo storm all the time, and that was all they ever had to worry about. And all of a sudden, Freedom and Esports and Roll20 have come on so strong, and it's very different for them to contend with.
Yeah, as opposed to having to focus on one team, there's now 4 to 5 teams to focus on, and you can't just brush them aside anymore. And I do think, now that you guys are talking about Heroes Hearth, like next round, I think they're going to be up in there as well.
now I see what you guys are saying. I don't agree with it because nobody on Gale Force actually strikes me as the type to get complacent. Which
Well,
is
what's the explanation though? They didn't get bad overnight, you know. Like it's just that they approach each. I'm sure they approach each week period or whatever, each half, with a very singular, structured approach for practicing and scrimming and focusing on matches from week to week. When that process suddenly changes because the league you're in becomes very competitive, that could explain why they're not looking as dominant.
But shouldn't you be focusing on the team in front of you like every week? Like, because no,
should.
I'm
You
trying.
should, but you didn't. They didn't have to used to do that.
But at
To
the
be
same
frank.
time, like the focus on
That's
them,
a
like
huge. Sorry, Elena. That's
go
just
ahead.
huge. That's a huge screw up in the way they train themselves. Then, like, and I'll admit I've enjoyed watching Gale Force kind of like fall apart. You don't
I haven't, just for the record.
You don't. you don't see collapses kind of like this happen, and you want to see them bounce back.
Let's not go overboard here. A collapse. I mean, they look bad in the last half, but they're still 9-4. They lost out by 1 game, so
they could very easily be 8-5.
Yeah, but like they have a good record because they were really good in the first phase.
Right.
Right. So I mean, some of this is just like recency bias. I agree, but like they almost lost to Lag Force. They looked like children versus Roll20, and then I think they
So
lost
bad.
to what, like Freedom and Superstars the week before or something.
They've lost
like
to Freedom.
They've dropped sets that they had no business, honestly, no business dropping. Like something is internally wrong with Gale Force, and like I said I'm kind of enjoying watching the blow up, but like I'm a what is it, a sadist, masochist, one of those two. But like
Close to
I'm not,
Space
I'm
Station
not,
and Freedom.
I'm not wishing ill on these guys. Like these guys are obviously hard workers, and like I just hope they can pull it together for BlizzCon, because now they have to fight through the playoffs, and Gale Force is I like Gale Force over Tempo Storm. Sorry, June. Just because Gale Force has done a little bit better at lands than what Tempo has.
I think it has to do with falling to their own assumptions. Because if you look at the series, the big series this past weekend, in their pre-game interview, it was, this team plays the same things all the time. And everyone knows Gale Force is super hard on focusing on the globals and focusing on certain things. And I think they are not expecting the other teams to focus on them as much and play against that. And I think that's what happened over the last few weeks. Is it's not so much that they're failing, it's that the other teams are getting better, and they were not ready for that. They were not prepared.
No, and it definitely reflected in that Warhead Junction game where the Roll20 just straight up all in at 4 minutes.
Yeah, watching
and normally, I'm so sorry. Normally, I would expect Gale Force to just be able to shred that kind of idea.
And they could have if they hadn't pushed for the other boss. If they had just said, nope, we're going back, we're going to stop this in its tracks, they would have done that. But they went for the boss, and that cost them just enough time.
Yeah. I'm in agreement with you on that.
Like even that nuke that Aka Face threw out, like just missed the boss by like this much because they had moved it forward just enough.
Yeah, that was just the most painful thing I've seen. Like they're I really do hope like Gale Force like gets back on the right path here. I'd like to see a strong showing.
They'll shake it off for the playoffs. I really do.
Yeah. But now it's become the Willie and Elena show here all of a sudden.
Hey guys.
That happens. But to kind of close this out, though, we have 2 series that are must watch this weekend. In EU, we have Liquid versus Expert on Friday, the 22nd at 11 a.m. Pacific. Expert is sitting at 7-6. Liquid is at 6-7. If Liquid takes this series, EU gets real messy real quick. I feel like Expert has this though. I feel like their record doesn't really tell the tale of how good they've played this split. I feel like. I know we talked about it a few weeks ago when they had they lost 3-0 to Fnatic, but if you watch those games, it didn't feel like a 3-0, if that makes sense, because they played really well, and it was just like minor missteps here that really cost them in that series, in the individual games. But I don't know.
Do you think they can, Jimmy? Do you think Liquid can take it?
I think they can. They're really good players. They're definitely capable. I don't know if they have the momentum to take over Expert though.
Both Liquid and Tricked are on a -2 streak, but Expert's -1, so it's kind of an odd situation in that area.
Well, to be fair to them, I think they had to play Dignitas and Fnatic.
Yeah.
The past,
True.
or they had to play somebody like tough. It was either Fnatic or Dignitas. But I think the real question here is the Liquid curse a real thing? Like I say that jokingly and kind of serious because remember the old Team Liquid back in like the beta days. When Team Liquid used to mean something. Like Shad and all them, like they were easily the #1 team in the world at one point. You know, this is, before, a couple seasons ago, a couple of years ago, like that EU Liquid team is the best in the world with Chris on it. And then it just kind of fell apart, Misfits gets picked up by Liquid. They continue their dominant streak. And now they're falling over themselves. Like Liquid is too good of a team to be at 6 and 7. And I point to their phase 1, part 1 and 2, like performances. Like we know this is a good team. They're like, why are they almost tied with Zealots and playing Ducks?
Yeah.
Like it worries me.
They're a good team, but they're a team in a region with Expert, Dignitas, and Fnatic.
But this is a team that used to dominate those guys.
Yeah, but Fnatic has elevated themselves to beyond the region.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like Fnatic is just playing otherworldly. They're not even in the same solar system as everybody else, right?
Well, it's also a time thing, all the new heroes and the new metas and the adjusting to that and all the teams building up and the new players and the star players. It's one of those changes, like the falling of GFE. Like Liquid was the same way.
And to be fair, I think we're in the meta is valid. Like if you move into a double support meta and you've got 2 strong tank players on your team and
it hurts.
2 assassin players and a support, it sucks. If you move into a triple tank meta and you've got 1 tank on your team, it hurts.
Has there ever really been a real triple tank meta though?
Yeah, the Koreans did it.
There has been.
About late 2015. I remember that vividly.
There's definitely been a triple tank meta.
Huh.
I hate it, but there's been
it was pretty rough. Yeah.
It will be interesting to see the start of next year's HGC and all of the changes that go into that, with how much everything has changed and built in the first year of it.
Oh, I'm sure Blizzard will change some things. I'm hoping that we'll get some more live events, but that's probably a pipe dream, unfortunately, because they did open that esports Blizzard esports arena out in Burbank. It would be cool if we had some more live in-person events. But the other series we are going to recommend that you check out is Freedom versus Tempest Storm on Saturday, 23rd at 4 p.m. Pacific. Very important match for both of these teams moving into seeding for the playoffs, just because Tempest Storm, they would like to make up some ground here for sure, and we'll have to see if they are able to do so. They could actually tie up with Gale Force if Gale Force loses to Superstars.
Okay.
I don't know what the tiebreaker is there, but
my brain has it that Gale Force is going to BlizzCon. Like that's how messed up. Like that's how messed up my head is right now. Like I'm like, wait, no, this is a completely irrelevant series.
If they
Gale Force has punched their ticket.
If they maintain their 3rd seed, which I don't see them not doing, they have to win 1 series and that's it, and they're in.
Who, Gale Force?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the last time they won a series was week 7.
Touche.
That's what makes this very interesting too, because Tempest Storm is a very strong team who, they don't always perform, but they're definitely capable of beating Team Freedom. So, if that happens, it makes Gale Force and Superstars that much more interesting as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Tempo has also been watching Freedom and like planning for this because they knew this was coming up.
Yeah, I feel like Tempo's hungry and will win this series.
You think they will beat Freedom?
I think so.
Sure.
I wouldn't bet money on it, but I think they'll win.
Just having this last week be so close in both regions is exciting for me.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's a whole nother level of Tempo Storm's either focus or pressure, however you want to look at it. If they know, I mean, obviously on Friday, if Gale Force loses to Superstars, then...
Which could happen.
It could happen. This could potentially be, you know, Tempo Storm playing for their lives.
Yeah, another scenario that plays out, though, is then Superstars and Space Station Gaming will most likely tie for that last spot in the playoffs, and I don't know how the tiebreakers work for that, because Space Station Gaming is playing Roll 20, and I don't see them winning that series, even though Roll 20 is... Well, Roll 20 needs to win to make sure that they get that number 1 seed. I believe if they win, they're the number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the NA and EU being really close, because if you look at Korea, there isn't really... It's like a divider after the 3rd point. So having these other ones is and there's so many things that could change just by one match, and I love it. I love seeing that.
Yeah. So here's the thing that's true for all playoffs. If you think you're the best team in the playoff, you don't care where you get seeded.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, if you're Tempo Storm, then the difference in this match is going to be whether you have to play like Space Station before you have to play GFE. And you think you're just a better team than Space Station, then you can go into this match and treat it more like a scrim. In a sense that you can try some stuff out, you can test some strategies, you can do whatever you think you need to do to prepare yourself, make yourself a better team for the playoffs, which is more important than getting a better seed. But if you're like, I think we just need to put ourselves in a spot where we only have to win one best of 5, then you have to do absolutely everything in your power to just win this one series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't want to be playing in that. I think Tempo Storm should definitely be gunning for that 3rd spot if Gale Force drops their match on Friday.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But yeah, that is HGC week number 10. Should be really exciting. Just a reminder, because it is the final week, we only have Friday and Saturday. Sunday are no games, so make sure to check those out when you can. And I think that's going to be it for our show for this week. We're about an hour and 20 minutes into the show because there was just so much stuff that Blizzard dumped onto us since last week. So really cool to be talking about that. Yeah, give us more. Obviously, we'll be talking more about the PTR patch as it does go live probably next week, I would imagine. I haven't heard any news about it being a 2-week cycle this time around, but it might be because it's a new map and a new event. Who knows? We'll probably have a date pretty soon coming up here. But yeah, check out BlizzPro.com to find out the date for the release, as well as all your Heroes and Hearthstone, Overwatch, WoW, Diablo news. It's all there at BlizzPro.com. For past episodes, make sure to check out youtube.com/BlizzPro. Join us throughout the week on discord.blizzpro.com. And if you do like the show and want to contribute towards the show, go ahead and check out patreon.com/heroespowerhour. That helps us out with all the different hosts, all the hardware setups. Sometimes stuff goes wrong, and we use that money to help with that kind of stuff to keep producing the show and keep it going. Make sure to check out all the other BlizzPro Network shows. West March Workshop for Diablo 3, Payload Podcast for Overwatch, Well Met for Hearthstone, and Arcane Analysis for World of Warcraft. With that, though, final thoughts. Where can people find you, and what are you up to the rest of this week, Power fan?
Just check out my Twitter. I'll probably, if I play anything, I'll mention it. So
there you go. Dexterous?
Tomorrow, casting Chair League playoff match with Balrog fan. Check it out. Twitch.tv.
That's Wednesday?
Thursday.
I'm stupid. Ignore me. Thursday. I
other
meant
plans
Thursday.
tomorrow.
There you
I
go.
got super worried there for a second. I'm like, hold up.
I do have other plans.
There we
tomorrow.
go.
It's Marvel. So find me at Zextras, Nexus Comms, HOTS.
It's
for
Marvel,
Nexus
baby.
Yep. So let's kick it over to Elena.
Yeah. Physical art.
Keep eyes on Twitter and the website because next week we will have our interview with Justin from Roll20.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome too. And I'm really looking forward to that. He's one of my favorite players in HCC right now. And he's kind of, I feel like he was the one who kind of started the whole Garrosh train when it really, really started to impact the meta. P Flame G, how about you?
Here's your water. Let's make some hot dogs.
I hate you so much. Why do you exist?
Did somebody clip that or no?
I did not clip that.
Okay.
Going
I was
in and
I was
deleting
playing
the
WoW.
archive now. I tried too hard.
Oh
got
my
so
goodness.
far?
No,
To
no.
quote Charlie, pick anybody else in the world. Be that person. Don't be you.
But yeah, as far as me, check out me on DJ Tired at Twitter and Twitch. That's kind of it for me. I mean, I post all my stuff there. Been really busy, and we're losing Zexter, so we're gonna close out the show with that. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Heroes Power. Check us out heroes.blizzpro.com. We will see you next week, and enjoy your time in Nexus. We will see you soon. Stay tight.